Laney and I would like to do a song that our beloved brother G. Sing and Gary Floyd wrote. We lost G. Sing this year, but you know what? We still remember him and we're still grateful for this song. It's called One Heart.
One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. Together we can make a difference in our world. Every creed and color, every boy and girl, all of creation,
No separation.
no separation. We are one, one heart, one heart, one life. We are one family, one earth, one heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. Together we can make a difference in our world. Every creed and color, every boy and girl, all of creation,
No separation.
no separation. We are one, one heart. Though it seems we are so far apart, and many times we feel we're all alone, the truth of who we are has been there from the start. We are one heart, one heart, one life. We are one family, one earth.
One heart.
One heart, one heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. One heart, one life.
We are one family, one earth. One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth, one heart.
Thank you, Lainey. Thank you, Andrew. You know, before I get started, I just want to apologize. Last night it was quite warm in here. It still is this morning. We have brand new air conditioners, and I guess we're going to have to know how to really make them work the way we want to. So I trust that will go away very soon before the burning bowl. All right. So, again, we continue. This is the last Sunday of celebrating the living spirit. Not that that celebration ever goes away. And this morning, we're talking about celebrating the living spirit as the expression. So the expression. And the expression that we are talking about this morning is how we express and the strength and just the miracle at times of families and communities. So we're focusing on our families and our communities. And our theme for the entire year should we forget, has been a world that works for everyone, because this is the last Sunday that at least we're going to put that in front. But that is the theme for Centers for Spiritual Living, which is our larger denomination. So we're talking about over 200 centers, even though we have over 400 nationally and internationally, but over 200 centers have taken up that theme for this year. And on this particular Sunday, we're looking at a quote. So over 200 ministers are working with a quote from our global vision that says, "We see our communities as points of universal peace, love, and power." Universal peace, love, and power. Well, there is power in love. There is power in peace. It's not, a just sit still, wishy-washy, not do something power. This power of peace, this power of love. So we are working with this morning. And I pulled a beautiful quote from Ernest Holmes, and he shares with us that when a group of people come together with one accord and with one thought, a greater power is generated. He continues, not because the creative principle responds to a number of people more than it does to one. So let's be clear on that. Not because of that, but because the combined faith of a group reaches a higher level of acceptance. So a group, we can reach that higher level of acceptance. And so group prayer, group consciousness is effectual when we all agree to work for a specific purpose and, completely forgetting themselves and their personal desires, merge their whole attention for the common good. Wow, imagine completely forgetting ourselves and our own personal desires, and yet merging for the whole attention for the common good. A higher degree of consciousness, he says, is reached where there is a completely unified concept. Bless you. So when we, more than one, where two or more are gathered, and we come together in this unified, what we focus on and what we set our intention on, what we set our attention on, what we want to do, and raising the consciousness for a certain cause or a movement or a thought, a vision, like a world that works for everyone. When we take a stand collectively and shall not be moved, we shall see a world that works for everyone. So today we honor and celebrate Hanukkah, and this is a beautiful representation not only of the strength of a family, but also of a group of people. And so I'm sure you've heard a little bit of this story, but you're going to get to hear it my way this morning. So let's sit back and listen to this story. So there was this walled city in Jerusalem, and within the walls of this city, there was a beautiful temple, the main Jewish temple. And the king of Syria basically invaded Israel and took over this whole region. And when the king and his troops took over this region, he basically said, okay, you can only worship my God. You can only worship the way I worship. You can no longer worship the way that you want to worship. And you must do it my way or the highway. And there were repercussions for any of the Jews if they decided that they did not go along with that. And the repercussions was death, right? And so here is a group of people that have a very strong faith, a faith that is grounded in family, a faith that is grounded in community, a faith that is grounded in certain rituals and rites. And they are told by this ruler, you can no longer worship your faith in that way. There's no longer can you do your faith. And so in the process of taking over this region, the temple in Jerusalem was destroyed. Now, what happened was there were a very small group of people that said, I'm not going to practice your faith. They took a stand for what they believed in. They took a stand for what they love. They took a stand for the God that they loved. And one of these was this man by the name of Judah Maccabee. He was one such man that basically said, I'm not going to move into what the king wants. And he had brothers. So Judah and his brothers, thus the family started this at the core. Judah and his brothers got a small army. Now they themselves were great warriors, these 5 men, but got a small army, very small in comparison to the Greeks, and decided to take back their city, take back their temple. It actually took 25 years, although it sounds like every now and then it takes a couple of weeks. It actually took them 25 years to fight this battle, and they won against all odds. So they fought the Syrian army with all their might, and they came together in one accord and one thought. And because of this, the Maccabees and their armies reclaimed this temple of Jerusalem. Now, when they got inside the temple, they found that the temple was defiled. It was basically destroyed. And one of the things in a Jewish temple is you always light the lamp. And when they got there, the lamp was not lit, and there was no oil for the lamp. So they decided to get rid of all the other symbols that were in this temple, to bring their temple back to the way that they wanted it to be and their beauty. And along the way, they found one little vessel of oil for that lamp, to light the lamp. And they knew that that lamp would only last at most for one day. But they had faith, and they lit the lamp with this oil. Now, it takes 8 days to press olive oil. So they knew that they could not get more oil for 8 days, but they had the faith. And they lit this lamp, and it just so happens that it signifies and symbolizes everlasting light, right? And it lasted because the living Spirit is present when people band together. It lasted for 8 days and 8 nights. They did not have, the eternal flame was truly eternal. And that's the miracle that is celebrated at Hanukkah. As a family, as a community, what an extraordinary thing it is to walk your faith. To have faith and put the oil in the lamp and know that it will actually work out. So what is up in our own lives right now, and we don't know how it's going to happen. We know what the result is that we want, but we have faith and we just do it. And we know that it'll work out. Think of something in your life right now. Do you have the faith to know that it'll work out? Like the Maccabees did. And so the living Spirit is present when we come together, when we band together. And when we do that, the miracles happen. So this small group of people overcame a large group of people. And what appears meager, this one oil of lamp, is lasting. In fact, it's everlasting. So when the living Spirit is among us as a group, miracles happen. When we embrace, and we embraced this last night, if you were here, when we embrace what is within ourselves, and we see in others what we can realize, and what we can realize collectively, when we come together in our centers, all of these centers for spiritual living and other faith-based communities that know the power and the presence of love and peace, in which there is a commitment to seeing the reality of God and the truth of Spirit in each other, our communities become points of universal peace and power. And that is the point. When we stand together as awakened and spiritually mature beings acknowledging the wholeness of each other, seeing the same in one another, and yet honoring our differences, when we speak up and speak out with our own wisdom and the truth, and yet honor the wisdom and the truth of all, we become that point of universal peace and love and power. And when we work together creatively to make welcome our highest ideas and ideals in and among us, we become that point of peace and love and power collectively. So when our community does this, as we have become now and are expanding, we become this open portal. So we are this portal through which the living Spirit works and brings forth the good beyond what any one of us could do alone. One of us alone cannot do what this portal does. None of us alone can do what this community does. None of us alone can do what a family can do collectively. So in this state, we collaborate in joy. We harness the power of this group. We harness the power of this collective consciousness for the good. And right now we know that good must come of all that's happening. There's so much happening in our country, in the world, all over. And so we are this beacon. We are this point of light for peace and love and power. And so what I love about this community is that we are the living Spirit. Last night we talked about it individually. Today we are the living Spirit collectively. We are the expression of the living Spirit. And by honoring each other's faiths and traditions and seeing each other's faiths and traditions, we become more of this universal point of peace and love and power. And one of the other traditions that have been started in this country, which is all about community, is Kwanzaa. And some of us could really understand that we are already doing the principles of Kwanzaa, but we may not know what they are. And so my beloved Michael is going to share that with us.
So, happy Kwanzaa. Just because I have a tendency to walk around. How's that? You can hear me? Okay. So, when I was asked to talk about Kwanzaa, I asked Petra and Karen and Lydia and those folks who asked me one special thing, and that was, could I do it a little bit different than we normally do it? So I want to talk about Kwanzaa a little bit differently than what we have normally talked about Kwanzaa. Because what I like about CSL, and what I like about CSLDallas, is that if you notice, particularly during this time of the year, this is when it really shows that we celebrate all types of different religions, philosophies, cultures, that kind of thing. But if you only think that the ones that we talk about that relate to your own particular heritage or whatever is important, then you're missing the benefit of being here. So when we talk about Hanukkah, if you think it only applies to Jews, then you're missing some of the benefits that come from that. If we talk about winter solstice and you think that only applies to those people who think about New Age, then you're missing something. So what I know, and from being a speaker, I know that you have to always know your audience. And if I'm going to talk about Kwanzaa, I want to talk about Kwanzaa in a way that you get it, okay? So that you know that it relates to you, not just the black people that are here, and know that it's not just a black thing, but it's a thing that for all of us. One of the things that I've learned is that, and you guys know all this stuff too, but holidays, they grow, they evolve, okay? Now, Kwanzaa just happens to be a holiday, believe it or not, that has been around, since I've been born. So it's like a real young holiday. But if we, comparatively speaking, okay? But if you look at holidays like Christmas, you guys know that Christmas first we started off celebrating Mary, then later on we got around to celebrating Jesus. Then they added some Christmas trees. From another culture they got mistletoes. From another culture we decided that we would give gifts, and Hallmark said, hey, let's give out cards. So we continue to build on those those traditions, those things. And I think that we need to do the same kind of thing with Kwanzaa. But if you only think of Kwanzaa as being a black thing, then you don't see how it can benefit you. So I want to make sure that we see that, because that's the benefit of being a CSL, okay? If you don't want that diverse thing, you're probably at the wrong place. So happy Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is about first fruits, and that applies to CSL too, because first fruits are the first fruits of the harvest. And that's one of the basic things that we talk about around here, cause and effect, right? So you plant that seed, you water that seed, you fertilize that seed, something will grow. Well, something special happens when you do that as a community. And that's what we are. You know, it's real easy to see where that word comes from, because the first part is just common, okay? People that have something in common, common likes, common ethnics, common whatever it is, common beliefs, but they come together as one. And that's what community is. And what I've learned is that when you come together, just like Reverend Karen says, as a community, it's very, very powerful. And that's what Kwanzaa is really all about. It's about being a community. So what I want to share with you is the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. But unlike, you guys have done the thing with the match. You know about the match. You've seen us light the candles, all that kind of stuff. So you're like an elevated class for Kwanzaa. So we can take it past that, okay? So one of the first principles is umoja, okay? And umoja means unity, just what we talked about. It's the main thing that we're about here. All of us being as one. That's one of our main beliefs. The second one is kujichagulia. That's not easy for me to say, but it means self-determination, okay? Third is ujima, which is collective work and responsibility. Ujama, which is collective economics. Nia, which is purpose. Kumba, which is creativity. And Imani, which is faith. Now let me tell you how this applies to CSLDallas, especially how it applies to us currently. Some of you guys know that I used to be on the core council, right? Just up till the last year or so. So I was on the core council when we came together in unity as one group and decided that we want to expand our building. We want to have some more space. So what we did, we practiced that self-determination. We decided how that was going to look and what that was going to look like. And I can tell you guys, you may not understand how some of this works, but baby, we did some work. We visioned for it, we meditated, we prayed. All the tools that we talk about around here in class, we actually use those tools to come up with the plan to do this. Now for me, it was kind of different. I turned out to end up being the project manager of the building expansion group. But even on the core council, when we were just determining what we were gonna do, okay? We looked at old grocery stores, we looked at old churches, old schools, all kinds of places. Therefore, we came up with maybe we'd go down to the building down at the end of the parking lot. We had all kinds of designs, but one thing that we held clear is that whatever would happen would be good for us, good for the landlord, and good for everybody involved. That's what we always said. And I'm kind of from the world of business, so I'm wondering, now, how's this stuff gonna work? We're supposed to have a plan, and no, we're gonna do it the CSL way. And we visualized it, we determined it, and we got right here, we got the exact space, and even more, okay? Now, you know how we actually made this happen, right? Well, there again, I get to be on that building expansion team, okay? So some of you may not have gotten your hours counted. That's my fault if you didn't get your hours counted, but I can tell you we put out more than 1,000 hours to do all the demo, okay? To do all the painting. That's collective work and responsibility. And that's how you make things work. We didn't go ask anybody else how to do it. We did it ourselves. We found our own people that were good at doing whatever it was, whether it was Randy hanging the speakers or Sharon and Cheryl doing design and Darlene doing the design team. We used the talents that we have right here. And then you know how we financed it? I mean, now this is the part that really got me when I was on core council, because I'm wondering, wait a minute, now aren't we gonna collect some money? Shouldn't we do this, that, and how can we do this? And who would give us that kind of money? We don't go anywhere around here and go get grants, guys. We didn't do it with a loan. We did it with our own collective work, okay? Our own economics. We did it right here with the money that we raised, no other money. That's that power that comes with collective economics. We determined what our purpose was for all this. We didn't just decide, oh, let's just expand because we're gonna have more folks come. No, we had a real reason. And if you haven't figured it out right now, the main reason for the expansion was so we could do more with YFM, more with youth and family ministry. And that's the first thing that we got done. And if you've been over there, anybody not been over there yet? Yeah, you need to go over there, okay? Because if you go over there, you'll see that we fulfilled that purpose, and we did it in the second way, which is with creativity. I mean, Brandy and some other painters, you guys need to just go see the walls. The things that they have painted on the walls to get kids excited. That's one reason why you need to use the restrooms over there, because if you go back here, those little kids are all around your knees. There's so many of them. But that's this principle's coming and it's working. It's working. And that was our purpose and that was our creativity. And we did it with faith. And with faith, it all worked out. Now, sometimes, some of us didn't have all the faith, and some people had to hold it for others at different times, right? But together, collectively, because I can tell you, I've seen some times when Karen wasn't so sure that things were going to work out. Petra wasn't so sure that things were going to work out. There's a lot of times I wasn't so sure that things were not going to work out. But there was always somebody there to hold that space, to hold that space. See, fear and faith both require the same thing. And that's for you to believe in something that you cannot see. And you have the choice. And our choice was to go with faith. So see, here at CSL, we actually practice those 7 principles to do what we did right here. That's how it works. So when you think that no, Kwanzaa is just a black thing, I'm here to tell you that no, you're already doing Kwanzaa. It's already a part of you. And what you want to do is take it further and let that holiday grow and mean something to you. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and being in a place that discusses all those types of things. See, being in a community makes a difference in how you run your life, how you run it as an individual or as an organization. Now, I've got a great friend around here that you guys can see. If you want to see somebody who models all of this, I told her I was going to talk about it because she told me she wasn't going to be here for Christmas, and that's why I got to speak. So you already know who I'm talking about. But check out Tracy Brown, okay? Tracy Brown lives that. Her whole thing is about unity. Her whole thing, if you think about her self-determination, every time Tracy has a birthday, she'll tell you, this is what my year is going to be about. She defines it. She lays it all out. I knew Tracy before you guys knew Tracy, so I knew her when she decided she was going to be a practitioner. I knew when she made that determination. I know what she does in her own job is all about working with other people. You check out her business, it's about diversity, how we work with other people. Check out her Facebook site. What she talk about? What is mine to do? Taking on all of that. She's somebody who actually models that you can see right here. So if you're looking for somebody, okay, just go check out my friend Tracy Brown, okay? Because she actually lives this. Now, the way that I actually live this whole idea about community is through other people. I used to live here in Mansfield, Texas, all alone. No family, no nobody. And I was happy. Katrina came, and my older sister and my brother-in-law, first they came to live with me for 6 months. My brother-in-law, who's married to my sister, his brother is married to my father's sister, which is my aunt, okay? Who happens to be one of those situations where she's younger than me, okay? So because their mother came, they moved here. So now I've got my sister, my brother-in-law, my aunt, and my uncle all living in Texas with me. That was bad. But then my mom turned 80, and my mom lived up in Kansas, and she thought because she turned 80, she needed to be near her kids. Really, she wanted to be near my older sisters and have them take care of her. I'm just a substitute in all this. So she moved here, and I was furious. I was. It's been a few years now, and I've gotten over it, but here's why I was furious, because I've moved a number of times, and I've learned how to move. And when you move, you leave things behind. So it takes skill and talent to move, and Mom didn't quite understand that. For real. I mean, you gotta get a new cleaners when you move, right? You gotta get a new hairdresser when you move, a new doctor, a new lawyer. All those things change when you move. So my mom was from a small town where she ran the community. She ran her church, she ran everything. When she got here, she didn't run anything. And so when she would go to the hospital, she was mad because the nurses would not take orders from her like they would back home. And mom would have diarrhea, and we'd have to take her to the hospital. I mean, every day there was something. And I asked her, I said, Mom, what is it? What's going on with you? And she said, Mike, I think I just need to be under watch care. I didn't have a clue what watch care meant. And after she told me about the second or third time, I started doing some digging. And for some of you who don't know, if you're in an AME church or a Black Baptist church, they have something called watch care, and you go to the minister of another church in another town and say, hey, watch over me, okay? I don't have a church home in the city, so watch over me. So in case something happens, if I get sick, I got somebody who'll come see me at the hospital. Oh, once I figured that out, Well, there's a real big black church in Mansfield. I got mom going to that church, and now my mom's 87 years old. I see her maybe once every 2 weeks because she's running so much, because she's found a community. They have 300 to 400 senior saints. That means anybody over 60. And they go run around, they play bingo, they go hang out, they go do all kinds of things. But mom has a community now. And now because she has a community, you know, she's running stuff at somebody else's church, telling people what to do, so she feels good. But because she has a community. And what I've learned is that that is so, so important. See, there's only 3 things that you really need to have going in your life. What I've learned is make sure you got your health, make sure you got your finances going together, and then your relationships have to be going together. That's community. If you've got 2 out of those 3 going, usually things are going good. And what mom needed to get was community. When she got those relationships going, all of a sudden her health improved. Everything changed. That's how it works. If you've ever been on a team, you know the power that comes when we all get together and do stuff. When we have a community, you feel that team spirit. That's why they didn't let Tony Romo come back on the Dallas Cowboys. You know that, right? Because they had that spirit already. They didn't want to mess up that team spirit. There's power in that. If you've ever been in one of those groups, you can actually feel the power. You ask the music group, as a team, I bet they feel that power when they all come together and sing. Something happens powerfully in community. And what I want to leave you with is that idea. And that comes from Kwanzaa and those principles and that whole thing about community. It works here, it will work in your personal life, your business life, or with your families. Got it? Okay? So you guys didn't need to see me light a bunch of candles and tell you about the mat and all that, right? But now do you see where Kwanzaa fits into your life? Yeah. Now do you see how maybe you can share it with somebody else and say that, hey, that's not just a black thing. You think so? Yeah. Okay, and you can do the same thing with Hanukkah too. It's not just a Jewish thing, okay? That's the power of being here at CSLDallas, guys. We study a wealth of subjects. And you don't have to pick or choose any one. Pick what works for you. But don't miss out on the opportunity of being here. This is a fantastic and powerful community in itself. And we are harvesting great things. When you talk about Kwanzaa, there's a special word that we talk about, and that's Harambe. Harambe means we pull together, okay? So I'm just going to close with you guys giving 3 Harambes, because Lydia's over here, and she probably wouldn't be happy if I didn't do at least 3 Harambes, right? At least 3, okay? So here's what you do. You take your hand up high in the air, and you pull it down, and you're going to say, Harambe 1, Harambe 2, Harambe 3. You got it. So, happy Kwanzaa with that. And you guys, I just love talking with y'all. Have a great day.
So let's take this. Come here, Michael. I love you so much. He's up here sweating with me.
Yes.
So I invite us to stand and hold hands for this day where 3 points of a celebration come together, that of Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. Because truly at, 12:01, here we are, all 3 faiths, all 3 traditions that can bring, I imagine, if we added the Muslim faith, we'd bring pretty much the major majority on this planet. So we bring the Muslim faith into our hearts as well on this day.
We sang a song by the Buddhist.
That's right,
Here today.
and we sang a song by a Buddhist. So here we are. We are this powerful, universal presence of love and peace known as CSLDallas. And we go within and we connect our hearts to every other center for spiritual living on this day in this country and across the globe. We just had one start in Kenya, Africa. They're all over the globe, these universal points of light and love and peace and power. And so we are the living spirit, that which has chosen, as we have chosen, to make itself manifest in this form on this day. For we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the beacons of light for the generations to come. We are the vessels in what we say and what we do, and how we act, and how we react to every other beacon of light around us. And so on this holy of holy days, on all the holy of holies on this day, we bring everyone, all the beings, all the human beings, all the animal beings, all the beings and beacons of light into our hearts. And we take a stand for the unity, the common unity known as community. We know that the power and presence of love is the greatest power and presence there is, and nothing can stand against it. And we declare our love, our peace, and our power on this day makes a difference. We declare and claim that our hearts are here to serve in this world as a beacon of hope, a beacon of light, where there is no judgment and everyone is welcome. We declare that this day is a day of peace, a day of love, a day of family, a day of community. And so it is.
I release and I let go.